Hello, everyone, and welcome to the About Healing podcast. This is a show created for those on or awakening into their spiritual journeys who are ready, wanting, and learning how to heal themselves. I'm your host, Sheree Buckman, medium and spiritual healer. Join me as I share my unfiltered perspective in healing, creating a place of love and understanding for all, reminding us that we are in this life together and never alone in our struggles. To learn more about me and my purposeful work, visit my website at shereebuckman.com. Let's begin. Well, hello and welcome, everyone. This is such an exciting episode. Really, the topic is great. I really think it's going to be great. But what I'm most excited about is the number. This is episode 15. What do you think about that, Copper?
I think that's really amazing, and I'm really proud of you. And also, kudos to Katie, who is no longer with us, but she got us here. I wanted to point out to you, I was doing some research. I just want you to kind of get an idea of how much you have accomplished, because I know that the last couple episodes in the transition has not been necessarily easy. Is that by this point in time in the majority of podcasts, people have given up. By episode 15, more than 50% of podcasts have ended. So they do not go longer than that. And you are here. You are here and you have a huge plan for what this is going to be. And the energy behind it is so powerful. And I am just really, really pumped that I get to be a part of that.
Wow. I think I'm stunned and shocked in this. I think I'm feeling it for the moment of what you just said because again, 15, it sounds like a big number to me, like holy cow, but to understand the bigger significance of it, hearing statistics, like I have chills right now. And if anybody knows me or has had a session with me, chills is always a validation that I get from spirit telling me that I'm doing the right thing or saying the right thing. So just wow. That's all I could
Just
say.
wow. Yeah.
Feels like an awkward moment for a
It's it's
second, you
it's
know?
so exciting though. It really truly is.
No, it is. And just as you said, I feel so much energy. Again, still keeping going in this podcast. So I am really excited where we're going. I am excited about this week's topic too, which we're going to get into in just a quick moment. But before that, I really, really wanted to put out this reminder for anybody who is following the podcast and especially each of these episodes as you are feeling into it. If the topic is just really hitting you and you're really wanting further guidance in it, please follow our social media pages. After every episode, when it airs, I am posting all the lessons broken down piece by piece. I am giving activities or exercises and guidance to work on for healing, but also fun quotes and other things. And plus, it could be interactive. So please comment, please share. We would love to have more interaction on that. So, with all that being said, let's talk about this week's topic. Creating this episode, I really had to sit down for a minute because I wasn't even sure where I was going to go with it. Last week, we spoke about worthiness, where our self-worth is, and then it hit me about where I wanted to go next. It feels like a good flow going from talking about last week's episode into talking about embracing our imperfections. So that's where I want to go. I want to talk about perfection and imperfections and what this all means. When we spoke about worthiness last week, I brought up some of the lessons in understanding how to identify our worth and how to move through it. And just as a quick recap, we spoke about our self-imposed limits, our vulnerability, lack of confidence, readiness to do the work, and really valuing what others thought about us and our worth. So all of this is really important to build that understanding and flowing into this topic. And that is why I just brought that up, because I see so often others striving so much in obtaining perfection. Perfection not only within themselves, but also for others. So when we're talking about striving for that perfection, this is usually a response in trying to find what changes we could make to bring us more happiness, to bring us to a place of stability, to a place of acceptance, thinking that if we can change this or be able to do this, then we're going to be happy. That's going to make the difference. Others will see me differently. I will be taken more seriously. I will be seen as beautiful. I will be more loved. Along with striving for perfection, there is another piece that I believe is really important that we need to talk about too, which is this underlying factor of these self-doubts. Just like when we talked about worthiness, we had to break down all those pieces that were missing in that, and these self-doubts are a part of the reasons why we're striving and looking for perfection. We spend so much time doubting our own capabilities, whether we're able to do things. And while this does go hand in hand with our self-imposed limitations and a lot of the things we spoke about last week, there's another layer to it. But there is, again, that big common ground that most of these are learned through the opinions of others that, again, brings in and assists us in creating that limiting view of ourselves. And then we spend more time cataloging our imperfections rather than focusing on the amazing and positive aspects of ourselves. Brings up a good question. Why is it easier to only see the negatives in ourselves? From judging and cataloging the negatives from our physical appearance, our capabilities or lack thereof, and even to the expectations we have of others. So to bring you an example to help you understand why it is we fear our imperfections and we're always striving for perfection is a personal story of me when I was younger. For me, one of those, the imperfections I really, really saw in myself when I was younger was the fact that I have red hair. So when I was younger, I told you all my story in an earlier episode and how when I was teased and I moved a lot and it was really difficult going from a new school to a new school. But one of those links that I found was that others would bring up my red hair. Red hair is not a common trait, natural red hair. And that was me. When I was younger, I had freckles. I was, on the chubbier side. I was loud. I had this really big energy. So I became this really easy target as a new kid. And I remember this one incident. I believe I was like about 5th grade. I stayed after school for something because I remember playing outside and there weren't many kids left. But I remember this one kid came out of nowhere and he came up to me and I'm just playing ball. I remember I was like with a basketball on the court or something like that, just keeping myself busy, waiting for whatever I was waiting for. And he came up and he started teasing me and calling me names. You're like a carrot with green leaves. I don't know what the green leaves meant. I just remembered this phrase. And I remember thinking, okay, the carrot I get, I'm used to it, whatever, red hair, haha, funny. Green leaves, like what? Anyway, that's just the funny part I remember of this one incident of being teased. But it's something that stuck with me. And it stuck with me, and I thought this red hair was an imperfection because it was a repeating personal trait that kept coming up that was turned into a negative. So within my family, it's a very positive trait. It's something that very few of us have that gets handed down. But when it's something different, other people don't understand. And when people don't understand, it also kickstarts another human trait that's kind of automatically downloaded within us is to fear change or to fear the unknown or to fear things that are different because you don't understand. To me, these are all connected. And so this factor came up, but there are more pieces to the story that I will share later that now I understand and know. But these are one of those reasons where when you have something that's different than everybody else, you do become an easy target. But those are the pieces and those traits or those pieces that we feel so deeply are the ones that we're here to learn to embrace. And for me, it wasn't necessarily about embracing my red hair. It's not about that factor. It's about embracing everything that is different about me and to look at it from a different perspective, because that is what it's all about. It's about changing your perspective on the way that you see yourself, changing your perspective on how you see the traits that not only you feel within yourself, but that you see and have a response to in other people. Those are the pieces that we're working on. It's as if it's this underlying alarm system within us that's triggering on that soul level of what to focus on and pay attention to. So to get into it now more deeply on the lessons that I've learned, that again, that I have collected from spirit or within my own personal experience and understanding and then embracing my imperfections. The first thing I really had to learn, and this is a big one, I'm sure most people agree, but I'm going to say it and I want you to feel this. What is common and socially acceptable does not always mean it's right. When I was younger, I really thought that I was the one who was wrong. When I had a feeling or a thought that was different than those around me, especially you have to think about it when you're in grade school or high school, to have a different opinion or to think differently was, oh man, no, I have to fit in. I can't be looked at as separate from other people. I can't be separate from the crowd because that's when it's scary. Because again, you'll be seen as different. But what I learned was that the feelings and the thoughts that I had, especially when I had a more positive thought about something that others had felt differently, because you can feel the energy. Like if you're in a conversation with a group of people and they are talking about something that a separate subgroup of people, whether they're talking about race or genders or something else, and they bring up something that's maybe not very positive or very accepting, which are things that I heard when I was younger. And I felt that maybe I have it wrong because I didn't feel those things or the separation between other people or the subgroups of people, most especially when the adults had those feelings and I didn't as a child. I absolutely thought I was wrong and that I was missing something. Well, now over time and more in recent years, I have learned that, well, maybe I have something to say. And maybe I'm the one to be assistant teaching these more positive thoughts, these more positive feelings, these more positive perspectives. I always thought they must know something that I didn't. It never occurred to me until recent years that I could be the one that had something to share. It was kind of like a big wow factor. Just understanding this piece right here that again, maybe my feelings were the right ones. And maybe my feelings aren't right for everybody, but it was right for me and it's right for those who feel the same way. And we are all in different lessons in different times. And so it is not about getting angry or fighting your argument in a place where others aren't going to listen or it's not going to be accepted because that's where you waste your energy. That's not where we're going to put the fight. That's not where we're going to put it in the moment. But we start saying that so we allow others to start having their own opinions and their own thoughts where we can grow and we can share in that change of energy together. So the reason I brought that up too is because now I want to get into understanding more about the striving of perfection. And the truth is that we are perfectly imperfect. We are striving for something that doesn't truly exist in the form of how we know it here in our human form. Perfection. It's not there, not in the way that we think it is. Our souls are here to learn and grow and evolve. We're not here to become a perfect being, but to become a being of balance, in balance and experience in all things, good and bad. So what we see as our imperfections is just the other end. It's like perfection and imperfection of what we see about ourselves and other people. It's the yin and the yang. These are the pieces that bring us into that perfect balance. And so I want to bring in that as a new definition for perfection, especially when we're looking at it on a soul level. Perfection equals balance. So that soul perspective of it, we're talking about that karmic balance. So if you heard episode 11 where we talked about the big why, and I brought in these perceptions and we talked about the meaning of life and karmic balance and pre-planning and things like that, hopefully this makes more sense now. And you can connect these pieces and what I'm trying to share and what Spirit's trying to share. So the key in separating this and to stop seeking this superficial perfection. And what I mean by that is the human level or human body perfection. It's been put out there how society, and this is what we mean about society, and how they don't always have it right as a whole. I want to break it down by gender basis because this is a big piece that's out there in the media, and is that, women are to be seen as these beautiful, super feminine and petite creatures. That is the definition of women in the history of mankind, really, if you look at it. Not saying it's the right one. I'm just saying it's the common view of what women should look like. And then for men, you also have the other one where they should be these ultra masculine men and not showing emotion, where they are a picture of strength and muscles. They should be tall. But that's not the truth of what we're striving to look for in perfection. And those are part of like a human body balance when you're looking at the physical aspects, or if you're striving for the physical aspects of perfection, if you're struggling in your weight. You see your weight as an imperfection. If only I can lose this weight. If only I was this number of pounds, then I would be beautiful. Then I would feel beautiful. But that's not the perfection that we're trying to change or create. The trueness of all of those pieces that you're trying to strive for is actually a very deep internal place that you're trying to seek balance. And that balance that I'm talking about now and the perfection that you may be seeking is about self-love, self-acceptance, unconditional love for others. These are the pieces that we may be striving for when we're trying to figure out perfection. Because underneath it all, we probably are looking for acceptance within ourselves and within society and our friends and family, loved ones. We want to be adored. We want to be taken seriously. We want to be accepted for all that we are, inside and out. But before that could happen for the outside world, we have to look inside and start accepting ourselves. And as I've been talking about in previous episodes, Katie and I, we started really talking about finding our true authenticity. And this is kind of where it's at. And so when we're seeking perfection and we are trying to change all these imperfections within ourselves, it's kind of denying that inner part of ourselves. And so it is important that we start coming to this place where we start breaking that cycle of trying to find that physical perfection, because this is a place now where we need to help and look at our youth and teaching them a new form and our future generations and start setting a new standard for perfection. It should be about an internal feeling of balance and finding joy and happiness, and not about changing our external factors to create that. Because even if you were to lose that weight, to change those physical parts about yourself, you will still find something else to start working on because you haven't worked on the internal piece of self-love and acceptance at that time. Our imperfections is a part of what makes us unique and special. It's about now learning to embrace these imperfections and accepting them. It's one thing I did as I got older, especially when I'm talking about it as a comparison, is my example of having the red hair, having these freckles, and being slightly chubby, and being this loud, big personality that I am. I am still working on this in layers, but the redhead thing, I am a very proud ginger. Thank you very much now. So much, in fact, that I got really sad after I started having children. The red pigment started kind of getting darker and darker. And so I had people at one point asking, like, wait, when I would bring it up, they're like, you're a redhead? If I didn't almost cry because someone didn't see me as a redhead now, because then it started turning into an identifying factor. But it was part of those lessons of growth, of starting to understand and accept myself for all the ways of being different, because now I understand that those are the pieces that make me stand out and makes me special and makes me a perfect person to be able to stand up and set the groundwork for other people who may be going through the same thing. So whether you have red hair or not, but that is not the point. It's just about embracing those pieces that you struggled with, that you thought were imperfections. Please dare to do things differently. Be original, because that's where it's at. That's the exciting piece. Don't look at somebody else's uniqueness or their originality and strive to recreate that for yourself, because we all have our own ways to be original and to stand out. It is time to set a new standard for society of acceptance and everything in all things. But the key to this, though, is to do it with love for yourself and for others. Don't stand out and fight for your imperfections or your uniqueness to prove or spite anybody, because that's going to bring an imbalance. And that's not how we prove and bring positive change. To bring the new standard, we have to do it with love. But we have to find love for ourselves first before we can understand and learn how to accept others' uniqueness and their imperfections. So just remember, and this is the absolute truth, we all have something beautiful to offer the world. It is not all the same. It is going to be very different. It is what most especially makes us different from others. Look at those pieces, because that is what we have to offer. Not only do we have to look within ourselves and understanding and accepting that, but it's also embracing it and showing the world that too, because with that, you are going to be an example and inspiration to others to start embracing their imperfections as well. Sometimes all we need is a fresh perspective. And that is also what is going to bring change, changing your perspective, not just on the outside world, but within yourself too. So to kind of wrap up this topic in this episode, I really wanted to share this quote. I love this quote. It is a quote by Rupaul. Biggest fear I ever faced was my own limited perception of myself. And I adore this. If we can just be as brave to look within ourselves and adjust that perception, it opens up a whole new wavelength that not only changes within ourselves, but that vibrates and rises in the whole earth consciousness of acceptance and rising in that love vibration. So, with all of that being said, and getting in such this deep topic, but it is a topic that I've, again, felt so strongly while creating this episode. But if you feel that this topic really spoke to you, and you feel like you need to do some of this work, or you're curious more about it and what else to do, I will be posting these lessons and breaking them apart and putting them on social media, along with other healing exercises and additional guidance to assist you further on your own healing journey. But I also kindly ask that if you are enjoying the podcast thus far, to please let us know. Give us a review or a rating on any of the outlets that you listen to us, so that others can find us, and it also lets them know that we're worth listening to. If you'd like to send me a private message, please feel free to email me and let me know which topics have really spoken to you or you would like to hear more of. This was a fantastic episode. Copper, did you fall asleep on me?
Happily following along, nodding my head as I do.
Oh, man. I really wish everyone a fantastic day. But on top of that, take time to explore your imperfections and seeing them as the beautiful, unique part of yourself, or going further down and seeing maybe where you need to seek more balance and understanding. I wish you all love and understanding for yourself. So until next time. With so much love and gratitude, I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode. My hope today is that the message continues to guide you along your path to healing. You can find About Healing Podcast on Pandora, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, or any of your favorite places to listen in. Follow and share the podcast on Facebook and Instagram, where you can find healing guidance, quotes, tips, insights, and chances to win free stuff. To ask questions or share comments, email me at abouthealingpodcast@gmail.com, or feel free to always reach me on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, be kind to yourself.